Welcome back to It'll Be Them, a podcast that spreads hope and awareness about incarceration. I'm your host, Ariadne Brumpu, and today's episode will cover a person's first-hand experience of what incarceration is like. It will feature Stephon Johnson, who's been in prison 2 times. The first time, he was sentenced 3 years for having an unregistered weapon, and the second time, he faced a 16-year sentence for having an unregistered weapon and for committing murder, 2 crimes he did not commit. Stephon will walk us through the different factors that led him down this path and how he was able to turn his life around and find peace after experiencing so much hardship. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's get into it. What was your economic situation like growing up?
Economically, I really couldn't tell, but when I look back on it now, I realized that I grew up in poverty, and economically, my mother worked, and it was a one-parent home for a while, and we was on different, I guess, government assistance programs, social services, Medicaid, those types of things growing up. So, I guess it's the typical, which is sad, but neighborhoods like I come from, below the poverty line. Yes.
What was it like there, aside from the poverty?
Uh, well, it was fun. I think kids gonna have fun no matter where they at because they not realizing what their circumstances is at that time. So, I grew up as a kid having fun, friends and family and stuff like that. But it was a rough neighborhood.
And looking back, what made it rough?
Drugs, violence, gangs, police harassment, like, you know, typical thing growing up in a black neighborhood.
And did seeing drug dealers, gangs, and violence so commonly normalize them in your eyes?
Yeah, anything that's in front of you will become normal. So, yeah, gangs was normal, drug dealing was normal. It was a lifestyle, it was a culture from where I was from. So, like we actually hung on the corners, like we hung on the corners and we sold drugs, we smoked weed, we got high, that's what we did.
You mentioned how if the opportunities aren't there, you can't see them. Growing up, did it seem like there was only that one path available to you?
The opportunities that present themselves, well, what you know as of opportunities that present themselves, that's what you cling on to. So if I come out my house and every day I'm seeing the drug dealers on the corners and they're the people that everybody knows, celebrate kinda. They got the girls, the cars, the money, and like the popularity. So when you grow up, when I grew up there, I wanted to be that. So that's what I became.
Now, you mentioned gangs. What made you and your friends be in one?
Officially, I never was with like the gangs of notable, people that I know, like the Bloods, Crib, Latin Kings, or anything like that. I never participated in any of that, but a lot of the people that I grew up with did. And so if you want to say that we was a gang, I guess you could say we was a gang, but it was a lot of us, and we named ourselves. We called ourselves KVS. A lot of us, we grew up in where there's drugs and lack of opportunity and lack of things to do for kids. So at the time, like I just speak for myself. I was selling drugs and smoking weed at 12, 13. Before I even reached 13, I was selling drugs.
Who influenced you to start selling drugs?
I would say my environment. It's like if I grew up and my parents were doctors, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to work in the medical field somewhere, and because we living in this neighborhood and I'm having all of these different opportunities. But if I grew up where my mother was at work overnights and, I see my mother a few hours a day, and that's not because of her not wanting to be there, but because of the rat race that they have us on to work to live. So when you have no guidance or structure at that, you start tapping into what is available to you, who's the people around you.
And going back to that first day you started selling drugs, Was there someone who encouraged you to start doing it specifically?
I'm out there. I'm in the streets. I'm beating crackheads and taking advantage of the customers out there. So I would sell fake crack. So I would go and we would make bread and put it in the microwave and chop it up and put it in a plastic bag to make it look like crack cocaine and then sell it there. So what happened is like the older dudes is like we're messing up their money. So like, yo, if you're gonna be out here doing that, like you might as well get some, you know what I mean? Just take this, give me 60-40, and then that way y'all stop fucking up our block, because we're fucking up their money.
Now, I know you said your family was a positive influence. What was your relationship with them like?
We was good. I got a brother. I got a younger brother, and I got two sisters. So I got an older sister. Then I'm the second oldest. Then it's my brother. Then it's my baby sister. So we grew up in the same house. Like I learned everything from my older sister. How to fight, how to dress, like everything. So we was always close, but me and my brother bump heads a lot. We fought at a lot, but that's boys coming up. And yeah, so we was always there for each other growing up and everything. It was my mom worked hard to provide, and then she ended up getting married when I was probably like 14. She met my stepfather, 13, 14. She got married, so that changed the dynamic, and it was a little bit better. It was a lot better, and so my family life was like it was good. I can't. Out of all the decisions I made in my life, I wouldn't put that on like faulting my parents or like my family situation more than the structures that put my family in a situation. Like I had a lot of time to reflect and have understanding. So like you have to have grace. And I used to be mad at my parents, but now I kind of understand. Like when you have the whole power of a government, like it seemed like targeting to destroy a people, and then you wonder why the houses is broken when you have laws that was actually passed to do that. So like when you have all of these things that have like when you talk about incarceration, when you see the big boom, especially of black people going to prison, because of what the population of America is Caucasians are we're 13%, right? 13, 14%. We never grow. Like the only population that just stays right there, 12, 14%. Like throughout all this time, we don't grow, we don't go, like we just stay there. Why is that? Everybody else is growing. Like why is in 2025 the maternal death rate for black women going up? Like how is that possible in 2025? So when you start to think about it, it's like you're targeting us. Like you're killing us in the hospital, you're killing us, baby. Like you're putting us in prison, you're breaking up the families. Like slavery never stopped. It's just transformed.
Looking back, you mentioned how your school experience wasn't very good. Can you explain a little bit about that?
So my first experience with authority, I was in school in North Carolina. I was in probably like the kindergarten or something like that. And uh, we had all brought everybody for a trip. We were supposed to go to some trip. So, and that week we had brought the money and it was all in an envelope. If I don't know why, I took the envelope. All I was thinking about was going to Mr. Jake's down the dirt road to buy pig feet of candy for for me and my family and my siblings and all. I was a kid. So I takes the envelope, right? Makes it to the bus and everything. And we get on the bus and then they come on the bus, they stop the bus, they like, yo, so I got, they figured out the money was gone, get me off the bus, bring me into the office, and like but I had dropped the envelope on the bus, I dropped it, but my hands always sweating. To this day, my hands sweat really, really bad. So with all like dirt marks on the envelope or like fingerprints, but I had dropped it, I was scared. You know what I mean? So when we come off the bus, I dropped it. They find the money. They bring me, I don't know how they know. They bring me to the office or whatever. But the principal is telling me basically that well, we know you took the money. I'm like, I didn't take the money. Like, yeah, we know it. You got your fingerprints here. We're going to call the police. We're going to call the police and they're going to figure it out. And, I'm a kid. I start crying. They call my mom come in there, whatever the case may be. So that was like my first experience with authority, and it was in the school setting. And so long story, I tell that just the story of like, that's my first real memory of school, is that incident. Like I can't remember my first day on the bus, but I can remember that. I can remember other days when I was in North Carolina, but I can like, that's the memory of school, my first, and I connected with the authority piece of threatening a kid with the police. You know what I mean? So long story short, school has always been difficult. I didn't know how to read, write, and none of that stuff. I made it all the way to like the 11th grade, basically probably with like a third grade reading and writing. Fourth grade, I knew the basics how to read, but I couldn't read. I couldn't comprehend. So I made it all the way to 11th grade, and I really didn't learn how to read until I was basically in prison my first time. So in school system, I always got kicked out. So I've been kicked out on every level. So I've been kicked out in elementary. Like I never went to a school dance or a graduation. I got kicked out in junior high. I got put to the alternative school. Then got kicked out of the alternative school. I got kicked out of high school when I finally did make it to high school. I was like 19 in the 11th grade. Like, and I was gonna fail again. Like I was gonna fail 11th grade again. So so that's my history of basically in school. I always was fighting and acting out. And a lot of that was because of being ashamed, like not being able to read and write. And, when you're in school, you get called on to spelling tests. Oh, my God. I used to try to cheat on spelling tests like forever. And to this day, like spelling is still something I like is difficult. But now they got all this technology. I don't worry about it as much. But it's like those moments in school where like it just made me not want to be there.
Looking back, what kind of things made you realize that there was preferential treatment based on race?
Looking back, I mean, that's what the world is based on. That isn't it? It's like the history, right? That we know, right? I can't name not one time that settlers, Caucasians, landed on somebody else's property and land, and it was a peaceful transaction. Every single time Caucasians land on somebody else's land, they pillaged, they killed, they conquered, and they took. And that's just the facts that we know. I mean, you tell me a land. I mean, how do Caucasians own Africa? They just now kicking about now. So that just tells you, right? The Congo, how there's no resources in Europe, no gold, none of that. So how are they basing their dollar on gold and all of that? Because they own Africa. Their resources is all Africa. Now they're kicking them out of Africa now. But as of now, their base, their livelihood is off of other people's property. But in this world, why do we think black people are the demons? Like we demonize black people all over this planet. We're like, they're savages, they're gangsters, they're all of these things that Caucasians have proven they are. But how is it so like why is America so scared of black people?
And relating to that, do you feel like you've been given less opportunities because of your race?
Yes, which is all right because I'm a thrive regardless. And just how like we always thrive, no matter what. Like the culture moves off of Black Americans, like the culture of the world moves from us. And the respect is like, it's just, I mean, the disrespect is like so blatantly, but of course, it's systematically like, I just filled out an application for Amazon. And Amazon, you're not supposed to be able to eliminate anybody for the criminal record. So what Amazon do, they will hire you into the process. And then you do the training. Then They hit me with a whole list of, tell me why you caught your case. When did you catch your case? We want a copy of your police report. Like, I'm like, what? So I say that to say this. If America, if the whole policing and the laws all come from slave-minded people that wanted to enslave people, right? All of these laws and everything came from that, right? I am supposed to believe that the same people that been trying to destroy me are here to help me. It just doesn't add up. So when you become a felon, you lose your rights. You're a second-class citizen. There's over maybe 43,000 different things that you would never be able to do again. So let's see, who's the majority of people that have felons? Oh, yeah, Black people. So what do? You have a system of, now we don't have to put you in a cage. We don't have to cage you up all the time. We enslave you differently, economically. Like, we redline you out. You can't get houses in certain places. Like, all of these things that have been happening, of course it's difficult for Black people. Of course it's not the same.
Aside from the sentence you served up until recently, have you been incarcerated other times?
Yes, I have. I did 3 years prior to the releasing of this last sentence. I did 3 years for weapons charge.
And why did you feel the need to carry a weapon?
I was living a lifestyle where arming myself, I felt was a need. I was selling drugs, and when you sell drugs, a lot of things come with that. And so that's why I felt like I needed the gun. But it's the American way.
As per your most recent sentence, what were you charged with?
Weapons. Oh, I was charged with murder, but I got found guilty of a weapon possession.
And how many years were you supposed to get for those charges?
Well, I went to trial and I got acquitted of the murder, and then I got found guilty of the weapons possession, and I ended up getting 22 years. But I gave back some time, so I did 16 years.
And even though you were innocent for the murder, why do you think you got blamed for it?
Because I was out there in the streets, and when I mean not that like that night particularly, it's just that I was out there. Like, my name was out there. I was always involved, and there was a lot of things going on at that time. So when everything happened, people said my name, and being that I had a prior incident with the victim, automatically I was the last person I had a issue with him. That's just how it went.
And during your sentence, you spent time in solitary confinement. How come?
It was like me wrestling around with police. Police came in my cell, and I flushed the drugs down the toilet. That I was still selling drugs while I was in prison. At that time, I was still selling drugs because I felt like I justified it because I felt like I needed to survive. I'm a TA, so I'm helping people get their GED, and I'm making 22 cents an hour. We only can work 3 hours a day. So at the end of 2 weeks, which we get paid, I'm making about $17 every 2 weeks. A case of water costs $12. Peanut butter now $3. Like, whatever. But anyway, so while I'm in that situation, I'm still selling drugs. So the officer came into my cell, and when he came in, I flushed it, and he started wrestling with me or whatever. I just grabbed him, I held on to him, and to the other officer, I let him go, and then they took me to the box. So when they took me to the box, I did 4 months.
And what was solitary confinement like?
Solitary confinement is not for human beings. Prison is not for human beings. It's just not. Not the system that they have set up right now. Uh, I'm gonna just give you an example of what they do. They never turn the light off. So you have a light on 24. You will never see darkness while you're in there. Never. So the light is always on. You get 3 meals a day. You can't save your food. They come in there, they searching your cell all the time. You get an hour of rec. You walk around a little cage like a kennel. You ever walk through a kennel and you see the dogs in the cages? That's how the cells are anyway. But that's how it is. But it's an outside, so you're in a cage all the way around, and you got people next to you in the cages, and y'all all got like about 10 feet to walk around, concrete, nothing in the cages. That's your hour rec. I did 4 months of that, which is nothing compared to people doing years, years of that. It's a mental thing, and I think for me it was just like, how did I get here? And then I just start thinking about like all the different things that led me here and how much power I had over my reality and like over my life and how much I gave it away.
Other than solitary, what other conditions did you face in prison?
When you continuously under that kind of oppression every single day, you become your light dimmers. You don't speak. You don't speak your mind because you know the consequences are behind it. You can't. For me, my ultimate goal was to come home. So I can't be. I hate authority, but I have to comply. I have to. I have to get through these things. So I'm not just being oppressed. I'm suppressing me. I'm suppressing my light. I'm suppressing who I am, and that does something to people, especially if you're not mentally there. If you're not emotionally mature, if you don't understand that you have to sacrifice these moments now so you could be greater later.
Other than the oppression, what were some of the other conditions within the prison?
The programming part of prison is the outlet. Because you have programming is civilians. So a lot of the programs, especially the volunteer program, you have outside people coming in. How I met you through AVP. So AVP is one of the programs that's inside, and these are the programs that you get that fire back, like that light that they be trying to dimmer. So that's where you get to be able to learn, express, and become a community, learn people and do things. So programming is probably like the best part of prison because it builds so many. Like I got brothers that I've met in prison that will forever be my brothers.
And in terms of how your basic needs were met, how was the food, the water, etc.?
They tell the COs don't drink the water. You will never see the CO drink water out of any prison in New York State. The conditions, living conditions are terrible. There's mildew all over, mold, rodents, depending on what prison you're in. They did better now because I haven't seen rats in like the last couple years that I was there, so they have done real good with that. But like I was telling you earlier, commissary is out of this world. You cannot afford to eat working in prison. Well, they say working, slaving in prison for pennies.
Regarding your relationship with the guards, what happened during your second physical altercation with them?
My second one's actually the one in Easton. My first one was actually in the county jail, and that was like totally that was on me. And then the last one is the one when they came through and they was just beating up everybody in Sing Sing. Uh, that was it was like the search team came in. Yo, that was like they taught. It's a you can look it up. It's people got lawsuits for it right now. They still got it in courts right now, but I think it was 2021. Cause they was doing it for a while, but the one time that I actually got into a physical, well, I ain't get into a physical. I just let them beat me up because there's no winning in certain things. So they were just coming in and they had everybody coming out. You had to strip down to your boxes, had you in your cell. They tore up your cell, had you standing out your cell. when they come in, soon they came in, they just start beating you up. Boom, 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 boom. After they beat you up, then that's when you come out your cell. You walk down with your thing, with your bag and your underwears down the gallery. They had the whole, like, it was so embarrassing. It was just like they was in there just breaking up TVs, just doing everything they wanted to do.
And obviously, there was high pressure with the guards. Was there also high pressure between the prisoners?
Yeah, a lot of it is like the gang stuff that happens, and a lot of that is like money, drugs, all of the, you know, uh, prison politics. So it's easy to stay out of that. That's not a hard thing to stay out of, but a lot of people do be involved in that. So it does. There has been different tensions with different gangs and all of that throughout prisons. Like that's just what happened. But the biggest gangs is the COs. Like they really are a gang. Like they put together straight up beat up squads. So like that's who terrorizes everybody. The same thing out here. The police in there act the same way the police out here act. So it's like the same mindset is like, we're the power. You cannot question our authority, but you work for me.
You mentioned how being in prison is harder without support, but it also works to break families apart. Why do you say that?
Prison is very, very hard without support. The prison system and the way that they use it has been structured basically to break families. Like, what else? Like, what else is it for? New York is one of the few states that have conjugal visits where they're able to have their family come on and visit for a few days. But the majority of the country does not allow that. You don't allow most of the prison system throughout the country do not allow visits where their families can have physical contact with them, especially not overnight. If I'm not in the household with mostly black men, are not in the household with the women, they're not creating families. That's why our population stayed. Remember, I was telling you how it stays where it stays. Designed. How can we grow if all of our men is in prison? Then you pump all of this. I put you on social services. Now you don't need the man. You ain't gotta answer to the man. You gotta answer to the government. Cause now if I'm in the household, then I'm paying the bills. But if the government pay the bill, how the fuck you gonna respect me? You gonna respect the government. You're not gonna respect the man because I can't be in your house because now if you on social services, the man can't be in the house. So how is it structured to make a family work? You understand? So to get help, you have to have your man out the house. So now you're looking at who pays your bills? The government. So who are you respecting more, the government or your man? Designed to break the family from the social services system to the prison system.
How did you find your peace with what happened and survive?
I realized how powerful I was with my mind and with my actions. And then I started creating my reality. I knew I was on my way home. I had like 6, 7 years ago. And I knew if I kept down this path of selling drugs and doing what I was doing, that was going to be the path that I ended on when I came home. So one of the things that happened to me is like I realized that like I have to change my mindset and I have to create my reality for when I come home. I have to start now. Like I can't wait until I get home and then be like, oh, I'm gonna do all of these things when I get home. I was like, no, I have to start now. So I really focused in and like won myself and came to like peace with myself.
What kind of things did you find necessary to fight any hate that you had before that?
You just gotta forgive and then come to acceptance of like this is what it is. This is what it was and this is what it is, but this is what I can make it. So like yeah, I was in a bad situation. I did a lot of prison time. I harmed my neighborhood. I sold drugs. Like I did those things. Yeah, that's who I was. Who I am today is like I'm here to motivate young people. I want to educate young people. I want to give back to my community. I want to build up my community. That's who I am today.
After you were released from prison, how was your social life?
awkward because people don't talk to you. People don't even look you in the eyes. I don't know what it is, but like people don't talk. The interaction in person is not the same how I remembered it, and a lot of things is on online, which I'm kind of transitioning. I'm understanding like people build relationships online, which is crazy too. But yeah, a lot of everything is a little bit different. So I still feel like I'm socially awkward. I don't know. I just feel weird, like I'm a weird person because I don't know how to interact with people like in real life, I guess. Like I'm on a train, I still speak to people. I'm like hello and all that, but people are like mad rude. They don't talk, they don't say hi, and I don't know. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just a New York thing. I don't know.
Can you explain what the Hudson Link program is?
Yes, Hudson Link is a program that connects the universities, the colleges in New York to the prisons in New York. So what they do is uh, they also do all right. So they connect. They bring the prisons, I mean the colleges, into the prison system. So we're allowed to get associates, bachelors, and master's degrees while in prison because of the connect from Hudson Link. So, and they also have a reentry program called New Beginnings, which I'm a part of now, where you come home and they have a housing program for you where you can, it's like a transitional housing where you can come home and it helps you get on your feet.
And can anyone be a part of this program, or do you have to apply, or how does
Yes,
it
you have
work?
to apply. You have to apply as long as you have a GED or a diploma. You have to apply. They take a test and then they select a certain amount of people every year to get into the program. It's growing. When I was there, it was growing, but ever since the COs did the shutdown, programs have been really slow to get up.
Can you talk about your nonprofit called Safe Space?
Yes, I have a nonprofit called Safe Space that's in development. That's my baby. I'm still working. So Safe Space is a nonprofit in development that I have been working on for the last few years. It started when I was in prison, and it's still like growing, and I'm continuously to put things. But for the basics of it, the foundation of the program is like a community center type feel, and it's I wanted to base it around civil engagement, financial literacy, and emotional intelligence. And the reason why these three I really want to base my program around is I want to raise the next leaders in Newburgh, New York, the mayors, the sheriffs, the people that run the city. I want them to be from the city and understand the importance of like what community really is and the power of civil engagement. We're like a wraparound service. And that's what I like about Hudson Link. That's kind of what I like. I kind of took from Hudson Link is I don't want to just, I want you to be like, it's a family. So it's like when you graduate from high school and you go off to college, like we're there. We want to be there for everything. And that's why the parents is very important too with the program is like the parents, they all got to take, you don't have to pay. So I want the hours to be from 5 in the morning to 7. I want it to be 24 hours, but I know I got to start, you know. So I want it to be 5 in the morning to 7 at night. And, people that work. And the purpose of it is so like childcare is another issue. So you can come drop your kids off and it's free. You only got to do the acorns thing, which is not no money for us. The money is for your kid and for yourself, so you can save up for the future. But that's the only thing you have to do as far as financially. But you have to take 3 hours, an hour, 3 hours a week, and it's an hour for financial literacy, an hour for emotional intelligence, and an hour for civil engagement. Because as the parent, you have to take 3 hours of Zoom. You don't have to come in; it could be Zoom, but you have to have these hours, these 3 hours a week, and then your kid comes to the program for free.
Why did you call it Safe Space?
I thought about like I never really felt safe. I started selling drugs. I was like barely 13, and in that lifestyle, even though it was like it was times that I had a lot of respect and love in the hood and all of that, but it's like you're always looking over your shoulder. You're worried about police, somebody trying to get you, all of that while you're there. Then I did a lot of time in jail, and it's like you're always paying attention, you're always wearing. So like from 12 to like recently, actually to like I basically moved to Austin, like I never felt safe. I thought about it and I was like, I know what being in Austin like is crazy, but I just want to create a safe space for people to grow.
And if there's one thing that people take away from today's episode, what should it be?
Know that you have the power within you to create whatever you want. Thought, you believe what you think, you speak it, you feel it, then you create it. Actions. And I think people look for everything outside of themselves when everything is right in the mirror. Like everything you need is right there. It's you.
Thank you all for listening. I hope you got something out of it, even if it's just an interest in mass incarceration. Stay hopeful out there and stay tuned for the next episode.